Hello everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and today I'm sharing with you my Tag It Tuesday tag for the month of February 2018. This is a Facebook group that you can go over and join. I'll put the link in the description box below, where there's challenges each month for a altered tag and an artist trading card. There are 4 prompts, and the prompts this month are glue, string, or twine, draw something, love, and make marks with the edge of the card. She asks that you use at least 2 of the prompts on your projects. Of course, I'm going to use all 4. I love these types of things. I even have my own Facebook group that's called Pick a Stick Challenge, where we have an art journal page and a ATC challenge each month where you're using prompts. I just love this. I also do Mike Deacon's Mission Inspiration most months. I just think this is a great way to kickstart something, if you're just like, ugh, I have this blank thing and I don't know what to do and I don't know. It's great to do these little challenges, and then you don't have to think so hard about what you're going to do or what technique you're going to use, especially if you have a brain like mine that's full of, I don't know, a couple of million things at any time, and it's so hard to like separate out ideas and information when there's just so much of it in your head. So that's the reason that I like to do these. So I didn't start off with any prompts. I started off with these manila shipping tags. They're just standard shipping tags that a lot of people use for altered tags. I bought these from Amazon, and I bought a box of 1,000 of them, so I have a ton. So I wanted to play with my Distress Oxides, which are new to me in December. I got a set of those for Christmas. There's 24 colors. So I picked 3 colors that I thought I liked together. I don't have much experience with these at all, so I'm just basically playing. And I did the technique where you squish the ink onto the craft pad and then you spray it with water and then you pick it up. And the thing about these inks, so I'm told, is that you can make lots of layers without making anything muddy. So I just had a couple different tags, and I kept picking up the color onto the tag and then drying it off and then doing another layer, so that I ended up with a couple tags and not much waste. Then I'm using this Stencil Girl stencil to make a pattern on there. Another thing that you can do is to splatter water onto it, and as the water starts to dry, it makes these oxidized areas, these white areas. So you can make patterns with water with these inks, which I think is really interesting, which is why I asked for them for Christmas and got them. So they're different than any other kind of ink because they're a hybrid of pigment and dye-based inks. It's just something different. So once I was happy with my background on my tag, I decided to seal it using some matte medium. That's the fluid matte medium from Liquitex, and then a 2-inch brayer, and just get some sealant over it in case I was planning on doing something messy and wet over the top. I didn't want to damage my background, so that's the reason that I sealed it. So then I went to the prompt list, and I decided that the prompt draw something was a good one for me because I do like to draw. Also, I've said that I'm going to do the 29 Faces challenge in February and have only accomplished maybe 5 or 6 faces. I just really haven't been very inspired to draw faces. It's not that much of my thing, I tend to be more interested in nature and animals and things like that. So it's good practice to draw faces, and I don't know. I haven't done that many, but I decided I better do one. So this, I think, is day 12's face. So that means I've accomplished less than 50%. But anyway, I don't really care. It's something that you just do when you want to do it, and don't when you don't. So I decided to draw a kissy face. You know how you pucker out your lips to kiss. You can see I'm doing it because you can hear it in my voice, but of course you can't see me, but you know what I mean. I wanted to try to make it look like that. That's a little bit tricky. So I decided to do a 3/4 portrait so that you could kind of get a slight profile of the lips puffing out and jutting out. That was what I thought would work. And it's a female face. I mean, I could have made either. I could have made a male and female and had them, you know, their lips touching. I don't know what I was thinking. I just was interested in trying to do that type of a face. And I decided that that qualified as love because you don't do a kissy face unless you love someone. Maybe it's not romantic love. Maybe it's, you know, kissing your kids goodbye or whatever, but that's a kissy face. So once I was fairly happy with my drawing, and I drew that with a HB graphite pencil from my drawing set, nothing fancy. Then I decided to lighten up the areas that are just the face and neck and leave everything else with the color. I didn't intend to completely obliterate all the pattern, interesting pattern that I created. I just wanted to lighten up that area in the middle. So I used some white acrylic paint that's, you know, mixed with a little bit of water. To do that, I could have used gesso. I just decided, the paint's cheaper, so I would use that. Then I got my colors back out and decided to try to use them in a watercolor way. And I wasn't sure if this would work because if you put water on these, they oxidize. You know, they're not really a watercolor, but I wanted to stick with the same colors, and I didn't feel like digging out my Distress inks that I have in the same colors. So I just smashed the pads back onto the craft mat again and then used a wet paintbrush. These are my acrylic handled paintbrushes that I just got not that long ago from Amazon from Royal Langnickel. And I really like these brushes because they're not wood and they're not painted. So when I leave them soaking in the water accidentally, accidentally for a long time, the handle doesn't get damaged because it's acrylic. It doesn't matter. It's not going to peel or swell or do any of that stuff that the wooden paintbrushes do. So I kind of like these, and they're inexpensive. They're synthetic, inexpensive brush. So I'll be sure to link them in the description box below in case you might want to pick some of those up. So then I got out my Stabilo All pencil. This is a black pencil that is highly water reactive. It's not just kind of water reactive. It's like it touches water and it goes crazy type of a reactive. So I drew over my lines with that, and then I got out my brushes again with a little bit of water and activated that pencil. For the face, I used a very small round brush, and then for the hair and around that area, I activated it with the angle brush that's probably maybe, I don't know, 1/2 inch maybe. I don't know. So it does depend, you know, that your effect is, you're going to get a different effect depending on what size and shape of brush you use. That's, I think, pretty self-explanatory, but I'll mention it anyway. So that really darkens up my lines and gives me, you know, more intensity than the graphite does because it's such a intense pencil when you get it wet. Then I just start painting up some more with some more of the inks, darkening up areas, adding a little bit of white paint that's still on my craft mat where I, you know, had lightened to the face. I still have that titanium white acrylic. So I'm adding that in areas of intense highlight and then, you know, mixing that with some of the inks and just basically touching up and painting up and making the drawing a little bit more interesting with color. I forgot to put the dark area inside of the ear, so I had to go back and do that with the pencil. So then what did I do? I also have these Nuvo drops in Blizzard White. They're a sample that I got from Creativations. They're just laying on my desk. That's the reason I keep using them, because they're just laying there. I haven't put them anywhere. So I add those to add like a highlight and a sparkle on the eyes and on the lips. So then another of the prompts was to glue string or twine, and I decided to take my iCraft mixed media glue that has a little fine tip applicator on it and add some of this sparkly yarn that I have. I found the purple and the orange. I didn't find a green one that matched the color of ink. You know, I'm sticking with these three colors, trying to keep everything in the same colors and tones. And that glue makes it easy to apply in a line, you know. Then I'm using mostly my fingers and then a wet baby wipe. The wet baby wipe really helps because sometimes when you are trying to glue something on something, you lay it down and your fingers get the glue on them, and then all of a sudden it's pulling back up again onto your fingers. So if you can take that slightly wet baby wipe and just pat it down, it kind of absorbs up the excess glue that you have and also pushes the twine down into the glue so that it sticks better, if that makes any sense. So I'm just adding that bit of interest to the hairlines that I drew in there with pencil using the purple and the orange. Adds a little bit of texture and interest. That was kind of a fun one to do. I could have done something different, like added the twine at the beginning and made a real textural effect, but I just decided to do it this way. You never know. The thing about prompts like this is that you can do something and then what everybody else does is completely different. And that's another reason that I like them, because everybody's thing turns out differently. So then the other prompt that I hadn't used was to make mark with the edge of a card. And so I just used this old gift card that I have that I use to scrape paint and stuff. And at first I tried to just get the ink off of the craft mat, and it wasn't getting enough gloppy ink on there. So then I just pressed the card directly into the ink and started to make some little lines on the edge of the tag. You know, I wouldn't have probably done this step. This wouldn't have been something that I would have done if I hadn't had a prompt list. So then finishing up, I added a little bit more of the Nuvo drops. They're different than glitter glue like I normally use, like stickles. They're more dimensional. They can almost make like a little pearl drop type thing. It stands out a lot. I decided I wanted to put a little heart on her cheek, so I added that in with some of the white paint, and then I ended up just drawing around it with the pencil and putting some more of the purple ink down in it, using some that had squirted out into the edge of the thing. So that worked out pretty well. More Nuvo drops, and then I end up drawing words that say kissy face right along her jawline. And of course I'm going to back it with some extra cardstock like I always do on my tags. I just like the look of that. After looking at the tag later, I decided that I should have used black cardstock in the background, but I ended up using this plum color, which is really just too faded and doesn't make everything stand out the way I had hoped. Glued that on with alien tacky glue, and I punched the hole and then added the fibers at the top. So that's pretty much all I did for my tag. I hope you'd enjoyed this. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up and a comment down below. These things help my channel a lot. And of course, subscribe if you haven't, and turn on the notification bell so you get notified when I make a video. And this also helps YouTube think that my channel is more valuable because people are wanting to be notified if I make a video. That's it for me for my Tag It Tuesday for February 2018. Bye-bye.